Welcome everyone and welcome to a new month in March. This is our first workshop of the month. It's going to be a busy month of March, a different kind of March Madness maybe. But tonight we are going to be taking a look at a competency assessment tool that is put out by NACE. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we get into our presentation. And if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Tina Lin. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the CUNY SPH career coach. In addition to facilitating career skills workshops and group advising sessions, I also meet with students one-on-one for career coaching. So if we hadn't had a chance to meet up yet, schedule your appointment now because they're booking for May. Plan early and plan ahead. So if you're logged into Handshake, grab that appointment slot now. I'm joined by a colleague, Carolini, who's also a fellow student. She's part of CSA as well and supports Taylor Dross, the CSA program manager. And our office is full of SPHers, where Taylor's also an alum, so is Abby, who's the student career program manager, and our office is led by Hannah Stewart Lathan, who's also an alumnus. And the student career program manager is Maya Lloyd, and they're taking care of the career fair that's in April. So more news on that. But this is our team and all the people that support you in bringing the programs and services that are available to SPH students. And so just the lay of the land for today. As mentioned, this career presentation that we're going to be going over, this competency assessment tool, it's 25 questions, and you'll have a chance to take that in the room together today. And it goes over 8 core competencies, and we'll be going over the definitions of these competencies, as well as each of the dimensions and components of these competencies and those sample behaviors. And if you've attended any of our events before, you know that it's not just about getting information or these ideas and this awareness, but really it's a chance to apply what you've heard and learn and share it together and connecting with your community. Because I feel like SPH students are SPH students' best resources. So most students have really enjoyed their time in the parent share and the breakout room. So hope that you'll stay on for that. And then we'll regroup for a debrief with some announcements and any questions, and we can address those then. So without further ado, let's kind of get into things. So who is NACE? NACE is the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And it's a national industry professional organization, similar to like APHA for public health, right? So NACE is kind of like the career services version of APHA, but for the career services professionals, as well as HR, talent recruiters, and other business solution providers that serve the community. And NACE gathers a lot of information on employment and forecast hiring trends in the job market. So a lot of their reports are really useful too. And they are the ones that have put together this competency assessment tool, which has its roots back, almost a decade ago, when in 2015, there was a special NACE task force of higher ed professionals, as well as folks, HR and hiring managers out there in industry that got together and kind of surveyed different businesses to ask, well, what are the most important competencies that you all are looking for when you hire students, higher entry level, or how do folks grow in their profession? What are those core competencies? So that was released, that the compilation of that research was released in 2015. And in 2021, they published these kind of sample behaviors that build on these competencies and how those are demonstrated. And just last summer, they came out with this competency assessment tool, which after a few years of like research and validation, they released this to be utilized by the larger public. And so for students to be used to assess themselves, for faculty to assess students, for preceptors to assess their interns, and things like that around these core competencies and the dimensions that are embedded in them, and kind of those behaviors at each level and rank. And so we'll be looking at these 8 competencies and their definitions, as well as those dimensions. I'm going to take turns around the Zoom room, kind of like reading through these. So I could use some help. I'll do the first few, but if we can kind of round robin it, if you're okay with reading, that'd be great. Maybe we can start with 4. There's 8 of them. So starting from 4, Milo, if you don't mind being a reader, and you'll just follow my lead. I'll do the first 3. And then Dominique, if you're okay with doing 5, so we can kind of do like even and odd after that. And kind of like looking at this, the rating system, sort of the lexicon for the rating system. There's like 4 levels, right? Or 5 really. Like 0 is NA, like not applicable if you've not demonstrated this competency before. But like if you rank yourself level 1, then it's sort of like you're aware, you've got emerging knowledge. If you rank yourself number 2, it's like you've got an understanding of the basic concepts. But 3 is really that early application that you sometimes apply it. And 4 is that advanced application when you consistently integrate that into workplace behaviors. And so the 3 links that you have is first your activity worksheet, which kind of gives you a space for journaling kind of all the things that we'll be going through. And like one example of this is sort of like if under the competency around communication, the 3 different dimensions around oral communication, written, nonverbal, and active listening, right? Like how would you rank yourself? You can plot something in there, the number in there, or you can utilize the handshake survey that we've built out for you all. You can also journal on your worksheet, kind of like, well, when is a time when you have demonstrated that strength? What's an example of it? I mean, so like for myself, like I put myself like nonverbal, like I'm generally a friendly person. So just smiling and waving and greeting people that walk by my cubicle and is an example of how I do that and as a way to foster relationships. Or active listening, summarizing and reflecting what I've heard back that people share during meetings, either via email or just during meetings. But I will say my written is probably stronger than my oral. I'm a better writer but I can be a little shy sometimes too. And so an action that I can be taking to be developing my oral communication is speaking up more during team meetings. So those are just examples of how you can utilize your activity sheet throughout our time together. And you've got that second link, which is the PDF, where if it's easier for you to read off of that than the slides on the screen, that's a way for you to follow along as well. Any questions as we kind of move through this first one, and maybe it'll become more clear as we kind of go through this together. But as mentioned, like pull up your activity worksheet. That way you can start ranking yourself. So for career and self-development, the definition, the way that NACE defines it is somebody that proactively develops oneself and one's career through the continual personal and professional learning, awareness of one's strengths and weaknesses, and navigation of career opportunities, and networking to build relationships within and outside of one's organization. And so the first dimension that you'll rank yourself in is around the awareness of strengths and challenges. So if you're in category 1, emerging knowledge, you're able to identify strengths and challenges related to career goals. If you're level 2, then you understand how strengths and challenges can shape career paths and goals. If you're early application, then you sometimes examine strengths and challenges to find learning experiences needed and move toward career goals. If you're in a level 4 advanced application, then you consistently examine these strengths and challenges to design a plan to find learning experiences needed to move toward career goals. So just jot down whether you're 1, 2, 3, or 4 on your sheet. The next dimension under the competency of career and self-development is professional development. So somebody in level 1 is aware of the need for professional development for achieving career goals. Level 2 understands the importance of professional development for achieving career goals. And level 3 sometimes seeks out professional development opportunities for achieving career goals. And level 4 consistently seeks these out. Dimension number 3 is networking. And under networking, level 1 can identify elements of effective networking, such as connecting with individuals and expecting reasonable outcomes. Level 2 is understanding how to use networks to create new career pathways. Level 3 sometimes uses networks to build new relationships and pathways that align with the career goals. And level 4, it consistently uses networks to build new relationships and pathways to align with career goals. Are we kind of getting the hang of this so far? So these are kind of like this core competency around career and self-development, the self-awareness, and this kind of like career planning, if you will. The second competency, and some of the sample behaviors that are associated with career and self-development is kind of like understanding those areas of strength and development, and developing these plans, and displaying that curiosity, like looking for opportunities to learn, and kind of like seeking and embracing new opportunities, or volunteering to participate in further education, trainings, or other events. And so kind of in your journal, as you're thinking about whether there's times that you've displayed this, or there's times that, or there's things that you might think about, after seeing some of the sample behaviors, something that you might try to do, you can journal that. Some of the resources that have been provided, kind of like, if it's joining alumni and expert panels, or shadowing somebody, or connecting for informational interviews, or joining career fair. These are just some examples of some career actions that can be taken in this category. Next up, and when we take turns reading, we'll just read this page with the definition and dimension. So next up is the career on communication. To clearly and effectively exchange information, ideas, facts, and perspectives with persons inside and outside of an organization. So the first dimension is oral communication, and emerging is recognizing the elements of effective oral communication skills, such as asking appropriate questions. Level 2 is understanding how to use oral communication skills to convey meaning. Level 3 is sometimes uses effective oral communication skills to convey meaning. And level 4 is somebody who consistently does so. The next dimension under communication is written communication. Level 1 is recognizing the elements of effective written communication skills, such as using clear topic sentences and providing evidence to support claims. Level 2 is understanding how to use written communication skills to convey meaning. Level 3 is sometimes using effective written communication skills to convey meaning. And level 4 is consistently using it. Next dimension is nonverbal communication. Level 1, recognizing the elements of effective nonverbal communication skills, such as monitoring body language and posture, proximity, kind of like what are people's personal space kind of thing, gestures, and eye contact. Level 2 is understanding how to use nonverbal communication skills to convey meaning. Level 3 is sometimes using effective nonverbal communication skills to convey meaning. And level 4 is consistent use. Fourth dimension under communication is active listening. Level 1, recognizing the elements of effective active listening, such as asking clarifying questions and summarizing what was heard. Level 2 is understanding how to use active listening. And level 3 is sometimes using active listening. when communicating with others. And level 4 is consistently using this. And some of those sample behaviors is sort of like just understanding the importance of all aspects of communication, verbal, written, and nonverbal, body language and abilities, and employing active listening, persuasive, and influencing skills, communicating in a clear and organized manner so that others can effectively understand, and framing a communication with respect to the diversity of learning styles and cultural differences and personalities, and asking for appropriate questions for specific information from supervisors, specialists, and others, and promptly informing relevant others when needing guidance with assigned tasks. And so as you're thinking about when have you exhibited any of these competencies, or what are some actions that you can take in the next step, depending on which of these dimensions, whether it's writing or speaking up in meetings, joining group discussions, making presentations. These are just some sample behaviors and some ideas. Moving on to critical thinking, competency number 3. Critical thinking is defined as identifying and responding to the needs based upon an understanding of the situational context, using a logical analysis of the relevant information. And so the first dimension is displaying situational awareness. Level 1 is recognizing the need for situational awareness, such as gathering information, anticipating needs, prioritizing issues, and setting achievable goals. Level 2 is understanding how to use situational awareness in the workplace. Level 3 is sometimes using it, and level 4 is consistently using it. Another dimension under critical thinking is gathering and analyzing data. Level 1 is recognizing the role of data gathering and analysis in fully understanding a problem. Level 2 is understanding how to gather and analyze data to solve a problem. And level 3 is sometimes gathering and analyzing data to solve a problem. And level 4 is consistently doing so. The third dimension under critical thinking is making effective and fair decisions. Level 1 is recognizing the need to objectively assess situations using relevant information from a variety of perspectives to make effective and fair decisions. Level 2 is understanding these elements. Level 3 is sometimes demonstrating this effectively, and level 4 is consistently demonstrating effective decision-making and problem-solving skills. And so some of these sample behaviors involve like reasoning and judgment to make decisions, solve problems, and gathering and analyzing information from a variety of sources to have a full understanding of the problem, and being proactive in anticipating what needs there might be and how to prioritize those action steps, as well as accurately summarizing and interpreting the data with an awareness of where there might be personal biases that might impact the outcomes, and effectively communicating those actions and rationale, recognizing diverse perspectives and lived experiences of stakeholders, and multitasking well in a fast-paced environment. And so as you're thinking about some of these career action steps, kind of like whether it's data analysis, literature reviews, these are all things that you're already doing in class, and how can you apply these skills in your workplace or grow in these skills with research and analysis and case studies, and just doing comparing and contrasting and being widely read. Okay. Where did I say? I was, number 4. Can I have Milo, can you start off with this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next dimension is equity and inclusion, and it's defined as, to demonstrate the awareness, attitude, knowledge, and skills required to equitably engage and include people from different cultures and backgrounds, and engage in anti-oppressive practices that actively challenge the systems, structures, and policies of racism and inequity. So the first dimension underneath it is engaging in multiple perspectives. So the number one, emerging knowledge, would be to be aware that different cultures may have different experiences and viewpoints. Number two, under understanding, is I understand the need for getting input from multiple cultures. Number three, that early application, is I sometimes seek input from multiple cultures. And then number four, under advanced application, is I consistently seek input from multiple cultures and then integrate that input into future decisions and actions. The next dimension underneath is use inclusive and equitable practices. So for emerging knowledge, that would be I am aware that inclusive and equitable practices are used in the workplace. For understanding, that would be I understand the importance of inclusive and equitable workplace practices. Under early application, that would be I sometimes use inclusive and equitable practices and occasionally work to bring them to the workplace. And then for advanced application number four, that would be I consistently use inclusive and equitable workplace practices and work to bring them to the workplace. And then the third dimension under this is advocate. So the emerging knowledge would be I recognize the need for inclusion, equity, justice, and empowerment for underrepresented groups. For understanding, it would be I understand the link between supporting underrepresented groups and achieving inclusion, equity, justice, and empowerment. For early application, that would be I sometimes advocate for underrepresented groups in the workplace. And then the advanced application would be I consistently advocate for underrepresented groups in the workplace.
Great job, Milo. Thank you so much. And so some of these sample behaviors under equity and inclusion are things like soliciting and using feedback from multiple cultural perspectives in order to make the most inclusive and equity-minded decisions, and to actively contribute to inclusive and equitable practices, influencing individual and systemic change, and to advocate for DI practices, especially for historically marginalized communities. Other things include seeking global cross-cultural interactions and experiences to enhance one's understanding of people from different demographics, groups that lead to one's own personal growth, and keeping an open mind to diverse ideas and new ways of thinking. Also identifying resources and eliminating barriers that may result from individual and systemic racism, inequities, and biases, and demonstrating a flexibility by adapting to diverse environments, and addressing systems of privilege that limit opportunities for members of historically marginalized communities. And so as you're thinking about, whether you're strong, or if there are action steps that you can take to grow in this area, some of these examples might include attending diversity conferences, and utilizing inclusive language, and incorporating that into your conversation or your interactions, accessing course materials, and look at diversified scholarship. And setting norms and ground rules in group dynamics. Milo did such a great job for 4. Can I get a volunteer for 5, please? And then I'll also need one for 6, 7, and 8. So we'll just go around. Everybody can take a turn. Any takers?
I can do 5. I do live near a naval base, so I'm sorry if we hear a lot of planes.
All good. Thank you, Carolina.
All right, so leadership is defined as the ability to recognize and capitalize on personal and team strengths to achieve organizational goals. The first dimension is inspire, persuade, and motivate. For number 1, we have emerging knowledge. I recognize some of the skills and knowledge leaders use in the workplace, such as being a role model, building trust, and tapping into what drives people. We have level 2, which is I understand some of the skills and knowledge leaders use in the workplace. Level 3, I sometimes practice the skills and knowledge leaders use in the workplace. And then 4, I consistently practice the skills and knowledge leaders use in the workplace. For the second dimension, we have engage various resources and seek feedback. For level 1, I recognize the value of using a variety of resources, including people and feedback from others to inform direction. Level 2, I understand the importance of using a variety of resources and feedback. Level 3, I sometimes use a variety of resources and feedback. And level 4, I consistently use a variety of resources and feedback from others. And then for our last dimension, we have facilitating group dynamics. For level 1, I recognize the importance of group dynamics in achieving organizational goals by leveraging team member strengths, establishing group norms, and addressing conflicts effectively. Level 2, I understand the importance of group dynamics in achieving organizational goals. Level 3, I sometimes facilitate group dynamics to achieve organizational goals. And then level 4, I consistently facilitate group dynamics by putting team members in positions to succeed, collectively setting group norms, and resolving conflicts effectively.
Amazing. Thank you, Carolina. Can I also get volunteers for 6, 7, and 8? Just drop your name and a number in the chat so that way we cover it all. And just looking at some of these sample behaviors for leadership is inspiring, persuading, and motivating yourself and others under a shared vision. Seeking out and leveraging diverse resources and feedback from others that can inform said direction, and using innovative thinking to go beyond traditional methods, serving as a role model to others, approaching tasks with confidence and a positive attitude, motivate and inspire others by encouraging them and building mutual trust, plan, initiate, manage, complete, and evaluate projects. These are all action verbs that could be utilized on your resumes, by the way. So, and this is why we're also taking some time to read through these together, because I think there's something about looking at something, seeing it with your eyes and, lodging it in your brain, but hearing it with your ears and also like letting it do something else and speaking it out loud. So I'm glad that we can all take turns. And thank you, Mayor, for volunteering for 8. I need volunteers for 6 and 7, please. And some action steps around leadership can be things like facilitating discussions, or even kind of like volunteering in breakout rooms or in workshops like this, and doing peer grading and teaching, getting involved in extracurriculars in any way, whether in the classroom, on the sports field, or campus clubs. Number 6. Thank you, Carolina.
The professionalism, we have it defined as knowing work environments differ greatly, understand and demonstrate effective work habits, and act in the interest of the larger community and workplace. So the first dimension is act with integrity. Level 1, I recognize the need to act with integrity in the workplace by being trustworthy, accountable, and respectful of colleagues and stakeholders. Level 2, I understand how to act with integrity in the workplace. Level 3, I sometimes act with integrity in the workplace. And level 4, I consistently act with integrity in the workplace. For the second dimension, we have demonstrating dependability. Level 1, I recognize the need to be dependable, a dependable, diligent member of a work environment, including being present, prepared, and showing attention to detail. Level 2, I understand how to be a dependable, diligent member of a work environment. Level 3, I sometimes act as a dependable, diligent member of a work environment. And level 4, I consistently act as a dependable and diligent member of a work environment. And then for our last dimension here, we have achieve goals. For level 1, I recognize the need to focus on achieving goals in the workplace. Level 2, I understand how to focus on achieving goals in the workplace by prioritizing tasks. Level 3, I sometimes achieve goals in the workplace by prioritizing and completing tasks. And level 4, I consistently achieve goals in the workplace by prioritizing and completing tasks.
Amazing. Thank you so much for doing double duty and reading on professionalism. And so some of these sample behaviors include acting equitably with integrity and accountability to oneself, others, and the organization, maintaining a positive personal brand in alignment with organization and personal career values. So how do you show up with, as your authentic professional self, one that is growing and leading yourself and others, to be present and being prepared, demonstrating dependability, such as reporting consistently for work or meetings, prioritizing and completing tasks to accomplish organizational goals, consistently meet or exceed goals and expectations, have an attention to detail, resulting in few, if any, errors in work, and showing a high level of dedication toward doing an excellent job. And so some ways to demonstrate professionalism might also be like at events and organizational meetings like student clubs or industry professional associations, practicing a SMART goal setting, which we're kind of doing right now, building your portfolio or website, and participating in public lectures and performances, and increasing your experiences with internships or micro internships. Who's my volunteer for 7?
I can try to do it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So teamwork. Build and maintain collaborative relationship to work effectively toward common goals while appreciating diverse viewpoints and share responsibilities. So under dimension, the first one is build relationships for collaboration. And under emerging knowledge, I recognize that collaboration and relationship building are important parts of team building. Number 2, understanding. I understand how to build strong, positive work relationships for successful collaboration. And under early application, I sometimes build strong, positive work relationships with colleagues for collaboration. And number 4, advanced application, I consistently build strong, positive work relationships with colleagues and supervisors for collaborations. Under the second dimension, respect diverse perspective. Emerging knowledge, I recognize the need to respect all people in the workplace, including those from diverse backgrounds. The second one is I understand how to respect all people in the workplace, including those from diverse backgrounds. And 3, I sometimes show respect for and include all people in the workplace, including those from diverse backgrounds. And 4, I consistently show respect for and include all people in the workplace, including those from diverse backgrounds. Under dimension 3, integrate strengths. I recognize under emerging knowledge, I recognize my own and my colleagues' strength and knowledge and talents. I understand how my own and my colleagues' strengths, knowledge, and talents can be integrated into the team to improve team performance. I sometimes integrate my own and my colleagues' strength, knowledge, and talents into the team's performance. And the last one is I consistently integrate my own and my colleagues' strength, knowledge, and talents into the team's performance.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dominique. And so some sample behaviors under teamwork is listening carefully to others, taking the time to understand, and asking appropriate questions without interrupting. Sometimes there's conflict in the workplace, and how to effectively manage, interact with, and respect diverse personalities and meet ambiguity with resilience. To be accountable for individual and team responsibilities and deliverables. Employ your own personal strengths, knowledge, and talents to complement those of others on your team. Exercising an ability, the ability to compromise and be agile. Agile is a really great word too. Collaborating with others to achieve common goals, and building strong, positive working relationships with supervisor and team members and coworkers. And so as you're thinking about goal setting with career action steps, or thinking back on times when you've exhibited and demonstrated this, whether it is in like group projects and activities, in the lab, doing laboratory work, or field teamwork, just attending and participating and getting involved. And even in these breakout rooms, to pair and share, and also to think and share your thoughts and hear other ideas. And last but not least.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
So this 8-1 is technology, which is understand and leverage technologies ethically to enhance efficiencies, complete tasks, and accomplish goals. So the first dimension is leverage technology. And the first level is I recognize the role of technology in improving efficiency and productivity. Second one is I understand to identify and select the appropriate technology for improving efficiency and productivity. Third one is I sometimes use the appropriate technology to improve efficiency and productivity. And fourth one is I consistently use the appropriate technology to improve efficiency and productivity. The second dimension is adapt to new technologies. The first level is I recognize the importance to adopting a new workplace technologies by exploring, learning, and integrating new technologies into my work. Second one is I understand the knowledge and skills that needed to adapt to new workplace technologies. Third one is I sometimes develop and use the knowledge and skills that are needed to adapt to new workplace technologies. Fourth one is I consistently develop and use the knowledge and skills that are needed to adapt to new workplace technologies. The third dimension is use technology ethically. First level is I recognize there are ethical issues and questions surrounding the use of technology, such as responsible use of emerging technologies, for example AI, and the importance of protecting data and privacy. Second one is I understand how to ensure the ethical use of technology in the workplace. Third one is I sometimes ensure ethical use of technology in the workplace. Fourth one is I consistently ensure the ethical use of technology in the workplace, including establishing and following processes for using and emerging technologies responsibly and for protecting information.
Thank you so much. That's a big one, technology, and with all of the compliance and ethical ways of utilizing it, how to navigate change and be open to learning these new technologies and using technology to improve efficiency and productivity in our work, identifying appropriate technology for completing specific tasks, managing all of these different technological platforms and integrating this information to support relevant, effective, and timely decision-making. Quickly adapting to new and unfamiliar technologies and manipulating information, constructing ideas, and using technology to achieve strategic goals. So these are all sample behaviors that one can kind of be growing in the workplace. And as you think about, when you've demonstrated these or what other action steps that you can grow in this, whether it's statistics software, social media, using Google Analytics, maybe it's Zoom or any other kinds of these platforms, or even using like these job scanner, these AI resume analysis, if that can be helpful, or databases or like web and video. So just a reminder of our community agreement as we prepare to go into breakout rooms about ideally having your camera on if you're able to, and if you're not, just dropping a note in the chat or just letting the people in your breakout room know to take and make space and being aware of that talk time. And as always, setting that inclusive environment with our tone and being respectful to one another. And in our breakout rooms, what we'll be doing is introduce yourself to your fellow classmate, which degree and program you're in, and use the journal reflection activities to take turns sharing about maybe one strength and what's an example of when you've demonstrated that. And then take turns sharing about an area of growth and what's an idea or a career action that you can kind of take to grow in that. And take note of what others in your group are saying to see if you can learn from each other, and if there's something that you'd be interested in incorporating for yourself. And if there are any questions that are bubbling up and that you're wondering about, please bring them back into the large group room that we can debrief together. And so we will give about 10 minutes time and just get through as many of these as you can. And like here are kind of those reflection activities where you can kind of like circle or highlight or just jot some things down. And then we'll come back together to parent share, and I'll be zooming around to kind of join you all. So With that, Caroline is going to open up our breakout rooms. Everybody knows how to join. As a reminder, feel free to schedule the career coaching appointment and handshake because they're open for May already. And I think they're going to go quickly because April already came and went for those appointment slots. And we've got a whole bunch of events coming up. Like I'd also appreciate, let me just drop in the link, the feedback form. Would really appreciate everybody kind of like filling this out for us because we just value what you say and share so that we can kind of continue to improve this programming for you all. Let's see, where is this thing? Here we go. And then I think just in terms of announcements for upcoming events is, oops, what happened? I lose my, lost. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen. We recognize how challenging these current times are in. And so if it's helpful to speak with our Dean of Students, Dr. Lynn Roberts. She hosts drop-in hours every Wednesday in person and online, or you can email her to connect with her further. We will be holding a next Tuesday, we have another event during lunchtime on strategic career planning. And I think like today's exercise was exactly a perfect segue into how to incorporate that into like a bigger picture. And we have a number of Discovery Series info sessions coming up. Just had one last week, and there's another one coming up for fellowship programs. This New York City Department of Health Pipeline for Preparedness, the Office of Emergency Management, they have recently hired CUNY SPH recent grads. And so this might be a great chance to, that they were actually a part of the pipeline fellowship program, and then they got hired full time. So definitely it would be worthwhile to go check out that event. Mayor, the links for the events are on our webpage. I'm going to drop that link in the chat and if you just, I think the best thing is to go to our homepage, because I'll just do a quick view of the homepage for you all. Because on here is everything. Like this is the start, this is the hub. So like click here to book your career coaching appointment. If you're having trouble with Handshake, you can go ask Abby during Handshake office hours. There's multiple times every week there's an hour that you can connect with her. Just a note that our spring career fair will be on the Handshake platform. And so it's really important to get up to snuff on Handshake. And then I just clicked the link for the events. And this is the events calendar. So there's also going to be a masterclass guest speaker next Monday. And these are great to go to hear from industry leaders. These are public health leaders that are coming to speak to SPH students. So do your research on Dr. Tina Shah and be there to ask questions. Like she's there live to talk to you all over Zoom. And next, as mentioned, that there's that strategic career planning workshop that we'll be holding next Tuesday. And then the following week is kind of like learning Handshake for the career fair. I'm attending that too, because it's going to be my first time on career fair and Handshake. And that fellowship discovery series with New York City Department of Health, as well as additional master classes and more career fair prep and continued workshops. So as you can see, this is going to continue to get populated with additional events that we have. And just kind of like the lay of the land of what kind of topics are coming up from now through the end of the semester, and save that date for Friday the 25th for career fair. And just a reminder that kind of like our career journey, it is a non-linear journey, right? Like there's going to be a lot of like, sometimes it feels like a roller coaster. And it's about training for the distance, that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And having good company around is so important, and I'm glad that we were able to be in good company today. With that, I'll stay around if people have questions for the next 5-10 minutes or so. Otherwise, if you need to head out, I know that we're a little past our time, but as you head out, please do fill out that feedback survey, and we have that tradition of a one-word checkout. Like, what is one word that would describe how you're feeling after investing this time together, this hour together this evening? And that could be your goodbye as you head out. But other than that, I'm here to take questions or just chat for a few minutes if anybody has anything that they want to share. But other than that, if you need to head out, share your one-word checkout, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
I have to jump off, but this was, I would say my one word checkout, this was very insightful.
Thank you, Milo. So great seeing you. Look forward to seeing you
Yeah.
soon. Bye, Carolina. Thank you. Okay, that's a wrap.